Hi. Today I'm interviewing Racheal Nakitare. She's a producer for the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. She's also the president of the International Association of Women in Radio and Television, what is called as IORT. And she was also a Humphrey Fellow in the United States. Hi, and thank you very much for accepting to have the interview with me for the benefit of my students in the intercultural communication class at master level. How are you today?
Good, my pleasure to join you today, Dr. Anastasia.
Yes. I showed you the questions before, so would you mind if we start already with the questions?
Yes, I'm ready, that's fine.
Okay, so my first question here. You lived in at least 2 cultures so far, having been for an extended period of time in the United States. How was your transition from one culture to another? What was the acculturation process that you passed through?
When I came to the United States for the Hubert Humphrey Fellowship, where I was placed at the University of Maryland, the enculturation process was very well planned in that I started, as soon as I arrived, I stayed with a family, a local family in Maryland, and for I think a few days. I think there were about 4 days before we reported in campus. And it's the members of this family that actually started to induct me into the American culture. First, of course, by eating with them, living with them as part of the family. It was actually a lady. It was just one lady. Her daughter was not around. She was in school. But she took me around. She showed me the shops. She showed me the malls, the eating places, the general surrounding. I was able to start my first cultural shock was she had a dog that she was living with, and of course in Kenya dogs live outside the house. Of course now there's a lot of people who are trying to also get into the habit of keeping pets like dogs in the house, but culturally for the longest time dogs were kept for security, and so they were kept out. So it took me quite a long time to appreciate and to be able to be friendly to the dog. That was my first cultural shock. But she definitely did a good job in inducting me and just trying to prepare me for what was ahead of me.
What year was this?
This was the year 2009.
Okay,
July.
so only 6 years ago.
Yes.
Okay, what else did you find different?
But besides living with the family, we also had seminars that were planned at the university when we reported, that were very specific to cultural interaction, because as you realize, we were about 80 students from different countries, all of us. And so I think it was important that we learn to be able to communicate and to be able to respect each other, even in our communications and our interactions every day. So we went through a bit of the intercultural exercises. Were taken to retreats. I always remember we went to Chesapeake Bay, where we went on this boat and just had time to bond and to be able to talk and to be able to relate and to be able to understand what's important, what's offensive in another culture, just so that we avoid such situations during our stay at the college. Mm-hmm. And besides that, we then just went to seminars around EC. Our coordinators, Lucinda and Serap, identified different seminars that touched on intercultural communication, intercultural coexistence, and always recommended that we attended them, and they would send us the links in advance so that we were able to participate.
Right, right. Let's move on to the next question. What is your perspective of U.S. culture? What are some key similarities and differences between U.S. culture and the culture of your own country?
I think one of the biggest similarities that I would look at between the two cultures is belief in hard work. like I realized that Americans really believed in working hard. You know, everybody doing what they thought would earn them a living, and that's a culture that is embedded in the Kenyan culture. In that, even from the traditional culture to the current.
Well, I see that the connection stopped. Let's see if we can reestablish the connection. We can wait a little bit. Maybe she will rejoin the interview. Let me try to contact her through Skype. The problem is that she disappeared from my link on Google Hangouts on Air. So it might be an electricity failure or connection to the internet. I'll have to see. I see that on Skype she's connected. Well, unfortunately, it looks like I will have to stop the broadcast. We answered only to the first question, but we'll see what we can do.